Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, November 7th, 2017, and it's time to go to work on music. It's been a great day. I'm in a really good place and excited for a productive session. Gonna hit some online classes here, update you guys with what I'm doing there. Going to hit a quick drum practice, probably keep that pretty light as usual right now, and then gonna dive into the production front big time today. Got a big session today, about 8 hours on the docket, so I'm gonna sit down and make my plan for the session right now. Sorry, I probably should have planned it before I started talking to you guys, but um, gonna retrack a guitar solo. Hopefully, won't spend too much more than an hour, hour and a half on that. Gonna knock that out. Then I will consider tracking the vocals. I really don't think that's the big priority for the day. I think today is to knock out some pretty heavy drum tracking. That's probably the main thing, and because that's both of those things are pretty energy intensive, tracking guitar, tracking drums, I will probably intersperse a bunch of online classes and just try to accelerate my progress there. I'll update you guys at the end of the session with what I accomplished. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll probably give you a little midway update in a few hours also. So, talk to you in a few. All right, end of the first half of today's session. I was I was deep in the zone there, man. I didn't want to come out. Oh my gosh, that's such a good feeling, guys. It's just such a good feeling, man. It's been a long time. What I did is I hit the online class front, just got some more information on how Facebook ads and how the instructor likes to construct hers, what some of her tips are for headlines and body paragraphs and image editing and different tools you can use to get text on the photo and why you want text and all that kind of stuff. Just all the nitty gritty. A lot goes into doing that stuff well, and some people do whole degrees on marketing, right? So just getting my feet wet with that and going a little deeper, which is really fun, honestly. I'm really enjoying it. From there, I moved to a quick drum practice, just warmed up and got into my stick control book. Started doing some left hand lead stuff with the foot patterns from the book. I'm on page 15, exercise number 23, if you have the book. And I'm doing left hand lead, eighth notes on the hi hat, quarter notes on the hi hat, half notes on the snare drum, I think, depending on how you count it. And then doing the pattern with my feet underneath that or on top of that, however you want to think about that. And got the metronome in there today, 50 beats per minute, sounding pretty clean for 20 reps, so I'll bump it up going forward. And I don't really have a speed goal right now, but maybe I'll set one. I just want to push myself a little bit the next few weeks. So that was great. Took a short break, did some reading out of the Recording Secrets for the Small Studio book. A little bit more information about being careful with digital audio workstations. It's really easy to start recording with your eyes or mixing with your eyes instead of using your ears, because there's so much stuff on the computer, and digital audio workstations often force you to work in a pretty linear way, like only working with one thing at a time, versus with an analog console, a lot of times you can move two faders at the same time, or tweak an EQ and a fader, to kind of move things around, automate things. And some people, lament the demise of that workflow just because it's slower, honestly, the analog workflow, and it gives you more time to think and talk in the studio with people and just reflect. Whereas with digital uh, recording, it's like boom, boom, boom. It can be really fast, and you don't really have time to reflect as much. So really interesting thoughts. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on that. I think any medium there's upsides and downsides, and you want to just learn to deal with them, and then hopefully you can steal the virtues from other media as you go, um, or incorporate. Be a more positive way of saying that, not steal. Um, Then I hit the production front, and I was going to track some vocals, but I realized it doesn't really make sense to do the background vocals until I do the drums, because the drums are going to change the sonics of the track, and I want to make sure the drums have plenty of space to breathe, and the backing vocals are just less important to me versus the drum sounds, so I want to make sure that I give those their due. So I was like, okay, time to start tracking drums. I listened back to some of the part writing I did, just sketching things out on my phone, just singing into the phone different parts, kind of brainstorming ideas. Came up with some parts that were ready to track, and then I realized, okay, I haven't really set up the kit with Superior Drummer to be able to just hit the ground running and start tracking. So I plugged everything in, it wasn't working, troubleshooted that, got it working, so finally got the MIDI coming from the TD12 pads into the TD12, because the TD12 has some extra technology and sensitivity to take advantage of the Roland pads themselves. There's a lot of integration there. So like you have 3 separate triggers on the ride, so you can get bell, ride, and then the edge, so you can crash the ride, which I really like, and it's really important to me, especially because I really only like using one cymbal setup for now. I may expand the setup, but for now I just kind of think of the less is more thing, and I've developed that playing style over the years, which I like, trying to get more out of fewer instruments, and which I know sounds ironic, but the hi-hat integration is really, really good, the sensitivity of the snare and stuff like that. And it's what some people might call a subtle difference, but since I played acoustic drums for so long, uh, and really learned on acoustic drums, I can tell a difference. It's a noticeable, tangible difference using this versus the Alesis Trigger IO. The Trigger IO's advantage is it's light, portable, plugs straight USB into the computer. Here I got an adapter. I mean, it's so MIDI cable to USB, and yeah, started getting all the sounds worked together, and then started going in and editing the velocity curves, if you know much about electronic drums, and the different sensitivities of all the pads, like how hard you hit versus how loud it sounds in the phones and the outputs and stuff. And that took a while to get that right, because I'm probably only going to have to do that once and maybe tweak things as I go, but that's really important for getting the feel set up right, and getting the making sure that my body's natural motions are in line with what's happening electronically, because if you don't get that right, then you could be overplaying or stressing yourself, or underplaying and getting things that are too loud, and not really getting the control and the realism, which is the whole point of adding this thing into the equation. So I spent a couple hours on that, and I'm really, really happy. I'm like, that's when I was getting in the zone, just playing and just being like, oh my god, it's like a real drum set, and it sounds so good with the studio sounds from Superior Drummer. They just did such a great job with that library. It's just it's so good. Um, and yeah, I was just having fun, honestly, just playing around, improvising. Just it feels like playing a real drum set. I mean, it really, really does. I mean, honestly, in some ways, I prefer it to a real drum set, because it's a little easier on my hands. Like the rubber is a little more shock absorbing than like metal, like putting the stick on metal. Like probably nothing will ever totally replace the experience and the sonics of playing a real drum set, because you have infinite control over the sonics there. Here you're limited to 127 different velocity values, etc. But it's close. It's really, really, really close. It's definitely close enough for me, and I'm pretty excited to just do the highest level electronic drum tracking that I've ever done. It's pretty awesome. So I'll be back. I'm going to take a break, have some food, and rest maybe for an hour or so, something like that, hour and a half, and then I'll come back and just hit it hard for another few hours. See you guys in a few. Okay, fantastic, phenomenal, amazing, perfect, beautiful. Just probably safely say that was the best session of my life, just in terms of time management, focus, balance, prioritization, and just sticking to the process and just bringing it, just giving it all I had, 100% the entire way. And I'm excited to get better. I'm excited that this is my limit, right? Well, not my limit, but just my peak right now, and that I'll continue to refine that and continue to grow. And just it just feels good to be at my zenith, as far as the process goes. So yeah, I think I updated you guys on everything at the mid-session break. What I did after the break was just got into the guitar tracking front and warmed up the guitar stuff, got the sounds ready, listened to the track, got everything locked in, verified that it was recording this time. And then I think I tracked for like 2.5 hours. I just tracked and tracked and tracked and tracked and tracked. Tried a bunch of different things as far as like the mental approach went. Tried a bunch of different things as far as like the emotional approach, the physical approach, just like playing through the solo over and over and over and over and over again, just trying to clean it up. Okay, let's try this direction. Okay, what about that? What about that? And like there were parts where it was like, okay, that's technically perfect, but then now I want to go this direction. Okay, let me try this. Let me experiment with that. And I think I had I had the solo to a place technically where I was able to sort of move around with that. I think now it's mostly about controlling the sonics, so I think that is the next level for my development as a guitar player right now. And I really don't practice plugged in very much at all. And now I'm starting to see, as I'm talking about this, that that is definitely holding me back. So I'm either going to get like a headphone amp or something like that, or like maybe just a small practice amp. That's been on my to-do list for a few weeks anyway, and just start playing plugged in all the time, because I'm never going to perform on electric guitar not plugged in. I'm just never ever going to do that. So I think that's just so the clear next step, and that's what took me so long on this solo, was not getting the solo locked up. That was fine. It was getting it with the distortion right and the wah pedal right and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to start practicing with that, like practice how I'm going to play kind of thing. So that's a great takeaway from today. And as far as whether I got a final take on that, I'm not really sure, honestly. I mean, I got some really, really good takes. Whether I'll be happy with one of them or I want to comp something together or something, I've kind of realized that's probably not going to work for me as far as guitar solos go, just personally, but I'm willing to try it. I'm just searching for that perfect take, and I think I'm just going to keep going until I get it. I may take a break again from tracking the solo like I did before and just work on the drums for a few days, try to knock those out, and then come back. I don't know, I might have something in there that's just so special that it'll never happen again. There were a couple moments there where it was like, okay, that's going to be very difficult to repeat, and that was really cool, and there was just great moments of elation and a lot of different approaches. So hopefully I'm going to have like 50 different solos that are just incredible, and I'm just going to have a really hard time picking one, and I'm so down for that problem after the last few weeks of just like, wow. But I think more than anything, it's that realization of like, wow, I haven't been practicing plugged in, and that's really holding me back. So yeah, it was just tons and tons of guitar takes, just tons and tons of takes, refining my mental approach, trying out different things, and just enjoying a difficult challenge, and it's going to come through. Like one day I'm going to have this solo in the bank, if I don't already today, and one day this album's going to be done, and one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be the person I want to be, and then it's going to be time to set some new goals. But for now, I'm just loving working on it. Getting the drums set up today was a big victory. I'm really happy. So tomorrow will be a lighter day, which will be a nice kind of change of pace, and then I'll be hitting it hard again on Thursday. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. That's what I'm out here doing. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. Till then.